Hello everyone, welcome back to another game review on the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at this game right here, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban for the PC. Now obviously we are looking at the PC port in this review, so that means it is different of course to the console port. So you might be confused if you've never played the PC port before and you've only played the console port. At some point down the line I will do a review, I'm sure, for the console port of this game as well. At some points during this review I will be definitely taking a look at the console port for comparing it to this PC port. Likewise, the Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets PC ports will also be present at certain points during this review to compare to this one as well, given as they are all done by no wonder the PC ports for the first 3 games. So now I'm going to go over all my thoughts of this game, what I think is good about it, what I think is bad about it, and just my overall opinion of this game. So with that being said, let's dive on into Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban for the PC. So in the 3rd year, Harry goes back to Hogwarts, but this time round one of the prisoners from Azkaban has escaped from Azkaban prison, which is of course Sirius Black. Everyone around the wizarding world believes that Sirius Black is evil and is out to kill Harry in order to get vengeance for his master's death, which would be Voldemort. But of course, as the year progresses on, Harry has more depth into what is actually going on and finds out that Sirius Black is innocent and there are actually others behind what happened to his parents, etc. During this time period, of course, the creatures, the Dementors, are introduced into the story of Harry Potter as well, and you start seeing them appear in Hogwarts in order to try and track down Sirius Black. As for the game following the plot, it does a somewhat decent job of following it. It does miss certain parts of the story out, but it also makes certain bits a lot faster than it should do, so it kind of skims through it really quickly. Certain parts that are missing here, you've got the whole of the Firebolt story just completely absent here. There is not even a mention of it at all inside the game. Also, Quidditch is not actually a thing in this game other than one tiny cutscene segment, which I don't really count, to be honest. The whole part with the fat lady being attacked by Sirius Black and then disappearing, and then Sir Cadogan being introduced, that's completely missing here. In fact, Sir Cadogan's not even mentioned in this port at all. Then the beginning of the game as well, where of course you're actually inside of Diagon Alley and so on, that's actually completely skipped here too, and instead you just start right at the very beginning of the game on the train, the Hogwarts Express, which I get, they wanted to just try and get to the main bolt of the action right away, I suppose, which is fair enough for a game. However, it does mean that all the beginning part of the plot is very much just thrown at the player very quickly, and the player is kind of expected to already know certain parts of the plot already while going into this game. But if I was to say overall, does it follow the plot fairly well? I would say yes, it does a decent job of following the plot. At the very least, you will get most of the main plot from the Prisoner of Azkaban told to you if you play this game. Coming on to the gameplay, of course this is one of the known wonder ports, so you would expect it to have quite similar gameplay to the previous PC ports, and that it certainly does. This does play very similar to HB2. Overall, I'd say the gameplay system and also movement here is absolutely fine and is basically the same as HB2, so you'll have a good time here if you like that system. The only thing that slightly gets me here while playing this game compared to Chamber of Secrets is it's quite obvious to see how things are a bit unfinished. And just to kind of explain some examples of this, it's to do with the movement really. If you look at Harry and Ron, you can see that they have animations for running forwards, backwards, and then side to side. However, their side to side one, for some reason, they are always just running to the right, which means if they actually run to the left, their legs are still running over to the right, which of course is not correct. However, when you come to Hermione, she just has no animations properly made for her whatsoever, and you can tell that she was very rushed. So for Hermione, if you run forwards, that's fine. If you run backwards, she's still running forwards. If you run to the left, she's still running forwards. And if you run to the right, she's still running forwards, which of course is not correct whatsoever with the animation. And then for whatever reason you'd ever want to use this option, but you can if you wish, and a lot of you might not even know this exists in this game, but if you hold the shift key on your keyboard, you can actually just walk instead of running. But just to point it out here with the walking animation, they obviously only programmed it so that it had a walking forwards animation, so if you do actually walk backwards or side to side with this, you're still walking forwards as well, which of course doesn't look correct. Another major gameplay choice here in the case of changing things, which I just don't think was honestly necessary at all, is you have 2 major spells inside of this game that you'll be using a lot of the time, which is Riches Emperor and Depulso. Of course, if you play Chamber of Secrets, or even Philosopher's Stone in the case of one of these spells, then you'll remember Flipendo and Riches Emperor. We then come into the Prisoner of Azkaban game, and Flipendo has been cut altogether. Flipendo is no longer a thing, and instead now we have Riches Emperor back again, and Depulso Depulso. The problem with this is that Richter's Emperor, if you play Chamber of Secrets, you associated the name of the spell with the symbol. However, with Prisoner of Azkaban, they have now decided to switch this, so that when you use the symbol for Richter's Emperor that you knew about inside a Chamber of Secrets, you are now saying Depulso with that, which is completely wrong. And when you use Depulso, you are now saying Richter's Emperor with that symbol. It feels completely weird and out of place, and it's just a very strange thing to do. There are multiple other spells that you'll be using throughout this game too. You'll be using Alohomora, which of course is returned again from the previous games, which is used to unlock things. Lumos, which is returned from the previous games, which you'll use on gargoyles in order to light up secret areas. And then Spongify has also returned from the previous game, which allows you to cast a Spongify symbol on the floor, so then you can use it as a bouncy pad to jump up to higher areas. As for the new spells that have come to the game, we now have quite a few introduced to us. Carpe Retractum, which is used in order to pull yourself towards an object or to pull an object towards you. Lapifors, which is used to turn a stone rabbit into an actual real rabbit, which you can then use and control yourself in order to go and do various puzzles around certain areas. Draconophores, which is used in order to turn a stone statue dragon into a real small dragon, which you again then use to complete certain puzzles. Expecto Patronum, which is used in order to get rid of Dementors. And then finally Glacius, which is used to freeze objects, and it can be used against enemies in order to make them no longer be on fire. All the spells of this game function very well, and to be fair, are used quite frequently in various areas. What I do quite like about the spells in this game is that there aren't any spells that are outright completely pointless and feel like they just don't need to really exist, as every spell is used for a various point in the game, multiple times usually. Last thing I would add though regarding the spells specifically, while it's really cool to be able to actually use Lapifors and Draconophores to control both the rabbit and the dragon, in the case of actually seeing these spells outside of the main plot or the spell challenges, of course you never do. They're not used to open up secret areas around Hogwarts, etc., which I think is a serious missed opportunity there, and would have been really cool to have seen that, especially in the outdoor area of the actual hub world, because then you could actually add in some more interesting secrets that you could unlock by playing as Hermione, for example. This is the first game in the franchise where you finally get to play as the whole trio. Overall, Ron and Hermione play mostly the same as Harry in this port, it has to be said. However, it is really cool that each member of the trio does actually get their own spells as well, so that's really cool. So for example, Ron does get Carpe Retractum, which is exclusive to him. Hermione gets Lapifors and Draconophores, which is exclusive to her, and Harry gets Expecto Patronum and Glacius, which is exclusive to him. So at least it means each character has something unique about them. And of course all the other main spells, all the characters can use whenever they like when you actually control them, so that's great too. The other part that is quite neat around the world here, which of course I'll be explaining about later on in the secret section, is that when you're in the hub world, of course you have the trio all together, so when you cast at certain chests, for example, or certain doors, you actually need to hold down the spell button in order to get all the characters to cast at it at once, meaning that the trio actually all has a purpose here in the hub world, rather than just having two people mindlessly following you doing absolutely nothing all the time. A part that I find really sad about this port of the game is that you can't switch between the characters on the go. I think this is a serious missed opportunity in the PC port of the game. Unlike in the console port, the PS2, Xbox and GameCube, where you can actually switch between the characters whenever you like, here unfortunately you can't do that. You are forced to use a particular character at a particular time. The general hub world inside of Hogwarts feels kind of a bit boring. Certain floors, when you get to the grand staircase bit, there's just not much going on inside of them. Certain ones there's a bit more to them. There are definitely certain floors like the 6th floor for example, which just feels completely almost thrown in at the last minute in a very pointless area. And then you get to the 4th floor, which actually looks like it could have had a lot more to it. For example, it has a whole door there next to this student, which unfortunately you can never open or go through at any point throughout the game, but this could have been used to extend the 4th floor and do a bit more with it. This same issue happens on the 7th floor as well, where there is a door just behind the fat lady's portrait which does absolutely nothing, unfortunately. The Gryffindor common room feels like the most bare bones thing I've ever seen. Then the grand staircase itself. This is one of the most boring looking grand staircases I think I've ever seen in Harry Potter. Gone are the days of Chamber of Secrets where the grand staircase really felt quite a special staircase actually, and rather unique the way that the stairs always move, whereas now you have the choice of going up certain stairs that move, or you could just walk up the side all the way around. While you could argue yes, that's a good thing if if you want to make sure that the flow of moving around doesn't get broken up and so on. It also kind of gets rid of the whole magic and point of the grand staircase, in my opinion. And you'll only, by the way, be using this grand staircase at the very start of the game, probably. Because as soon as you first get to the hub area and go to Friend George's shop and leave, you then get put into a boss fight with Peeves, where you then unlock the portrait passwords. These portraits are on every single floor and basically allow you to quickly get back and forth between floors. You are going to be using this area all the time throughout the rest of the game. There's no reason anymore to use the grand staircase, so by doing this earlier on in the game, this has completely defeated the point of using the grand staircase really in any capacity. Then going into the dungeons hub, this area honestly might as well not even exist at all, to be brutally honest. This area is just for secrets alone, and that's it. There is nothing else here. It's such a shame because it's a waste of the dungeons. And then finally going out into the grounds area, they feel quite bare bones again. It feels like there's not much really here. So most of the time you're just going to run through the main courtyard, down the bridge bit, and then straight over towards the hippogriff area, probably, because that's what you'll be likely heading to, or the pixie area, which is right to the left hand side of it. It feels like there's so much more that could have been done with these hub worlds and just made them a bit more useful and actually interesting to be in. That then brings me on to the Marauders map. You unlock this when you first enter into the hub world by being given this by Fred, I believe, who just comes out of one of the sneaky portrait bits in order to give it to Harry. Although I would add, if he knows the secret portrait passwords to go through the shortcuts, why didn't he just tell the trio this so that it could go straight to the 7th floor rather than running a marathon throughout the whole of the hub world to go back up there again? Anyway, he gives Harry the Marauders map. The Marauders map, just to make it plain and clear, is the most useless thing you will ever get in this game. You will never use it. Literally no point throughout the game would you ever get lost, in my opinion, while playing it. I don't see how you can get lost. It's too obvious to know where you're going at all times. So talking about the unique gameplay in this game when it comes to the spell challenges in particular. So of course you have Carpe Retractum, which is Ron's spell challenge and exam. You have Hermione's Lapithor's and Conifors challenge and exam. And then you have Harry's Glacius challenge and exam. What I will say is that Ron's exam is definitely a lot more challenging than his challenge, which is nice, and it's what I expect from an exam, to obviously be more challenging than just a general challenge where you learn how to use the spell. I did also really like Hermione's Lapithor's and Conifors challenge. I personally think it's one of the most interesting challenges in the PC ports. I just generally quite like the spells as well. I think it's a really unique addition to this game, the fact that you get to play as the actual rabbit and dragon. I think that's an awesome addition to this game, and something that really could have been done inside the console port for Conifors instead of just what they do there, which is using it on a statue and it breathes fire, and that's it. One thing I would say though about the dragon is, oh, did it need more work? This thing is a bit buggy in places, in particular in Hermione's final exam. When you're flying the dragon, it just gets stuck on so many invisible barriers. It's insane. The amount of times you'll be trying to fly around and you'll just get stuck on an invisible barrier on a wall somewhere. When you're on a timer, I might add as well, is really annoying, and it just ruins the experience quite a bit. And then when it comes to the Glacius spell, I think that the slides are really fun. The sliding idea was just a great idea, to be honest, with Glacius, and I think they did the right thing here. So actually being able to freeze flowing water and then just slide down it, it's just rather entertaining at the end of the day. And of course you can change the speed here and go wherever you want on the slides too. When it comes to Harry's final exam though, this, honestly, I'm gonna be realistic here, to me feels just like a test level. I might sound really harsh saying that, but this really does feel just like a test level. The lighting doesn't feel like it exists half the time. Most of it is just going down this floor area with various fights against enemies, and that's that. But you can tell this also feels like a test area, given that it has zero music in it. I don't know, I really wasn't a big fan of this final exam. The extra challenges that you have in the game, which are the pixie encounter, the buckbeak flying challenges, and the monster book a monster fight. In the case of the pixie challenge, this is dreadful. This is so boring. The buckbeak flying challenges, I like these, to be fair. They're unique. It's nice to see that each time you go through it, they do move. The little rings, they're sort of bat rings basically you have to fly through. It's nice that they move them around a bit to make it a little bit different each time. And then finally the monster book of monsters encounter, quite similar to the pixie encounter. The only difference this time is it's the monster book of monsters. And then my final point on the gameplay, which also kind of collides with the story here a little bit as well, is when you complete the main plot and the final exams of the game, you get this mini cutscene with Dumbledore McGonagall, which basically goes over this checklist of what you need to complete throughout the game in order to get the end cutscene and finally finish the game off. This, by the way, is the worst designed part of this game, and whoever came up with this had no thought process with this whatsoever. The fact that you can complete all the main tasks in this but have not completed all the side tasks yet, for example getting all the cards etc, and because the task for getting all the portrait passwords etc is a side task and not important, but all the others were important ones, which were the main challenges, getting all the shields and doing the pixie encounter etc. If you completed all the main ones, you are automatically pushed through to the end of the game. You don't have the option to say, no, I want to go and get the rest of the collectibles first before I finish the game. So then the only way you can deal with this is replay the whole game again and deliberately, while playing through the game, not complete one of the main bits. This is terrible design. What should have happened here at this point is they should have had an option on the screen when it shows you the list to say, I'm glad I've done all this, but I would like to go back and do the collectible stuff, so I'm not ready to go yet. It was silly to do what they did here, in my opinion. Very silly. Collectibles and secrets. So we've had a bit of a step up with this game, actually going in a slightly different direction to what we got with the previous two titles. When it came to the currency that you used in order to purchase items etc around Hogwarts in the previous titles, it was just beans, whereas here in Prisoner of Azkaban we now have 3 types of currencies. You've got your basic currency, which is beans. They have returned again. You've got pumpkin pasties, which are kind of your sort of medium rarity, I guess, type of currency now, and you've got your much more rarer collectible and currency to use, which is the cauldron cakes. I thought this was quite a neat idea. It kind of made the whole concept that we had of the past come back again and giving it a bit more variation when it came to actually purchasing items around Hogwarts. So I actually think this was quite a nice addition. You also have wizard cards coming back again as collectibles. I'm very glad that wizard cards came back again. I personally think wizard cards are quite interesting. I like the art of them especially, and I also of course like the written descriptions on them as well, so you can get a bit more backstory into certain characters or creatures. My issue with the cards inside of this game is they have absolutely no purpose. Something that I thought was a huge step up from Philosopher's Stone to Chamber of Secrets on PC was that when you came to the Chamber of Secrets, not only did the wizard cards actually give you more health, which was a great addition by the way, but also you had other wizard cards that of course once you got enough of them unlocked a completely brand new secret area. When it comes to Prisoner of Azkaban, if you collect all the wizard cards except for the last set, then you will be able to go and get a little bonus level which will allow you to collect the other wizard cards that you haven't got there, which is nice. The problem is it's not a brand new secret level. It's very much just going back to the beam bonus room that you've already been in multiple times throughout the game, I might add, and just having the same experience but without the timer, and this time round you have certain wizard cards, 5 of them to be exact, that you can pick up in there as well, but there is no actual game benefit to it. So all these wizard cards you collect in Prisoner of Azkaban have no real game benefit at the end of the day, other than the fact that they allow you to go to a secret level that is not so secret because it's something that you've been to multiple times throughout the game anyway. And to me it feels like the wizard card system inside of Prisoner of Azkaban has taken a massive step back from what it was doing inside of Chamber of Secrets, which was really expanding and experimenting on it a lot more. And then finally coming to the actual main secrets inside of the game. So of course the main secrets now are the portrait password secrets. So these are big portraits that are on various floors in the hub world, and basically you have to go to Friend George's shop and buy these portrait passwords to go inside of them. There's nothing wrong, so to speak, with this system, and it's nice that of course you have bonus levels if you like as a result going through these portraits to get these secrets like the wizard cards etc. My main problem with it is it doesn't feel very secrety when the portrait itself is literally right in front of you in the hub world. It's a massive portrait by the way, all these as well, so it's not like you're going to miss them. Secrets to me anyway in the past games were more hidden. It was actually having to put some effort in to look around and try and find most of them a lot of the time, and when you go inside of them, sure the levels are I guess somewhat interesting, some are much smaller and shorter than others, but I mean there's nothing really special about these. They're quite quick, usually mostly just giving you a ton of collectible items such as beans, pumpkin pasties and cauldron cakes to use to spend on other things, and then of course you get a wizard card at the end of it as well. And then when it comes to the other secrets around the world, again they're not really secrets, most of them. They're very much in the open or in your face. It's very hard to miss any of them. In fact, I'd be surprised if anyone did miss most of them. Of course, some of these secrets involve using the trio, which I do like. I think that's a good addition, making it so that all three characters have to interact with a specific spell on a lock, for example, in order to then be able to open a door or knock an object over, etc. I think that's a good system, and I like the fact that it gets them involved as well, and it's not just Harry on his own. The other thing regarding the secrets in Chamber Secrets that they added in too was the fact that you actually built up getting secrets over the course of the game. What I mean by this is that while you were going through the environments to look for certain items in the hub world, for example, you might have not had a spell that you needed in order to be able to actually get that secret yet. So it meant you needed to play through more of the main story in order to unlock that spell, so then you could come back later and get that secret. Graphics and animations, I haven't got much to say here really. What I would say is that overall I think the general environment graphics of this game actually look okay. They're nothing groundbreakingly special, but they don't look awful by any means. I will admit I think there could have been a bit more colour in certain environments. However, when it comes to the characters on the other hand, some of the models look okay, some of them not so much. Some of the animations you get from some of these characters on this PC port definitely look interesting. Also, some of the lack of animation is truly hilarious. The music in this game is absolutely fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about the music at all. Of course, the music is done by Jeremy Soule, and I'm sure others were involved as well. Some of the main tracks that stand out to me, obviously the main menu theme is absolutely incredible. I love the main menu theme of Prisoner of Azkaban. It's definitely one of the best songs probably ever made in Harry Potter. It's a fantastic song right there. The Dementor encounter songs are fantastic as well. And overall, you just got a great mix in this game of epic sounding songs, calm songs, and creepy songs. So there we are. That's all my opinions for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban for its PC port. Overall, I don't think it's a terrible game. I know I have quite a few negative points regarding it, but I do actually kind of enjoy playing it. It's definitely what I consider the weaker, in my opinion, of the trio for the PC by no wonder. It's one that I think could have used more time in development to make it truly quite an awesome masterpiece to remember forever. Unfortunately, it just didn't quite get that in my opinion. So overall, my final review score for this game is actually 4 out of 10. However, I would still recommend to Harry Potter fans out there, or even people that are just new getting into the franchise, you should play this game. I think it's worthwhile playing it. It might not be the most incredible game of the whole series or the most memorable, no, but it is still an entertaining game to play, and overall something that I think you'll enjoy playing at least once. Let me know what your opinions are of this game. Let me know if you played it before. If you haven't played it, are you going to go and play it? Put down what your thoughts are and your general opinions, etc. of this game are down in the comments section below, and leave on your comments so I know you've made it to the end of this video and actually have seen all of my comments too. I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. Otherwise, that's all I have to say for this review video. I hope you guys found it interesting to listen to what I had to say regarding this game, and with that being said, I will see you all in the next review video in the future. See you in a bit.